I'm Mrs. Strobel, and today I want to teach you about the power of positive thinking and also help you understand what negative thinking is. And when you understand why sometimes we have bad thoughts or we have bad feelings, and maybe ways that we can try to have more positive feelings, it helps you just feel better in life. Okay, so here's what we know about human beings. Believe it or not, most of the thoughts that most of us have are negative. And what I mean by negative is they're not very good feeling thoughts. We have thoughts like, I'm tired, I'm grouchy, I want that toy. I wish I was better at basketball. I wish I was a faster runner. I wish I was smarter. I wish I could lose weight. I wish I was prettier. And what we know about humans is that the way our brains are made, they're wired and made to think negatively. Now, here's what else we know, and this is going to blow your mind. We know that for every human being, you have about 70,000 thoughts in a day. That's right, not 70, not 700, not 7,000, but 70,000 thoughts. That is a lot of thoughts. But here's what else we know about average human beings. We know that 80% of most people's thoughts are negative. If you think about that, that means that out of every 10 thoughts that you have, 8 of them are thoughts that don't feel very good. Now, I want you to think about this. If I were to take you all the way back to when you maybe woke up this morning, or when mom or dad or grandma came to your room and told you it was time to get up, what was your first thought? Was your first thought, I'm so excited to wake up and have my day today? Or did you have a bunch of negative thoughts like, I'm sleepy, I didn't get enough sleep, I don't want to have to do my online learning today, I don't want to have to go to school, there's nothing good to eat in the house, mom's being so mean. You see, we start to do this as soon as we wake up. Now, why do we do this? Why do we sometimes have these bad thoughts? Well, first of all, it's okay. That's just us being a human being. But we actually have them because that's the way our brain was made from really, really, really old times. I want you to think back like hundreds of years ago when people were just starting to learn about the earth and they didn't have houses to live in. They lived in caves and they didn't know how to protect themselves and they didn't have proper clothing or stoves or microwaves or ovens or even grocery stores. And so that part of their brain is what actually protected them. It kept them safe because their brain needed to constantly look around and say, where can I go for shelter? What can I do if there's a bad snowstorm? How can I stay warm? Where are we going to get our next meal? How are we going to capture the next animal so we have food to eat? And so because our brains were like that way back when, we still have part of that in our brain. It's called the reptilian brain. And so what this means is that our brains are just made to kind of always be looking for everything that is wrong versus everything that is right. And so what I want to teach you is that to become aware of your negative thoughts. And when you find yourself having them, it's okay to have a few because that's just normal. Or if something really bad happens, of course you should feel grouchy or sad. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I want you to do is I want you to catch yourself when you start having a bunch of negative thoughts or a bunch of thoughts that don't make you feel good. And I want you just to say, stop. And then I want you to think, what is a better thought? What's something that I can focus on that actually feels good? Because here's what we know about your thoughts. Let me show you. we know that your thoughts, all the thoughts that you're having in your head, those thoughts become your beliefs. Now, what's a belief? A belief is something that you feel about yourself. Like, I have a belief that I'm a strong runner. I have a belief that I'm really organized. I have a belief that I'm a really good mom. I have a belief that I can figure things out whenever they get hard. And so your beliefs that you feel about yourself, those come from the thoughts that you have. So let's say that you have a bunch of negative thoughts. Like maybe you say to yourself, I'm not very smart. Other kids are so much smarter than me. I'm just dumb. My brain doesn't work very well. And if most of your thoughts are like that, then you start to believe that. You believe those bad thoughts about yourself. But what if you had other thoughts, more positive thoughts, like, I might not be good at math, but I'm really good at drawing. I'm a great artist. Then you would have a different belief, a positive belief, which is, I'm a really good artist. Or maybe you could have a thought like, hey, I'm not good at math or reading, but I'm really good at being able to build things and put things together like Legos or maps or directions. Then you would have a more positive belief about yourself. And so what we know is that the thoughts that you have the most in your head, those are the things you believe most about yourself. And so what happens is you have this thing in your brain called a loop. And a loop is kind of like a road. And so, for example, if your brain is used to thinking about all the bad things over and over and over again, then that's the loop that your brain is on. It keeps doing that over and over and over and over. But when you catch yourself having a bunch of thoughts that don't feel very good, you can tell yourself, stop, and you can choose a different thought. And so when you keep choosing a better thought, what happens is you change your brain, and all of a sudden you have this new path in your brain that's very positive. And that's the part that your brain learns to do. And so in today's lesson, what I taught you is that it's normal behavior for human beings to have negative thoughts, because it comes from years and years and years ago when people were worried about tigers chasing them. They were worried about getting attacked. They didn't know where they were going to sleep. They didn't have food. They didn't know how to survive very well. And that part of our brain is still in us even today. But that we can actually rewire the brain by choosing a better thought. And that when we choose a better thought, it creates a different belief, and that creates a different pathway in our brain. And that becomes the new normal. And so then what happens is you're able to look out in the world and you're able to start to see many more good things. And we're actually going to teach you how to do that in some of the gratitude lessons that we'll be teaching in the future. So right now, I want you just to remember that you have all of these thoughts in your mind, but that you get to choose what kind of thoughts you want to have.